Hi everyone, welcome to Water Tanks with stewiejp. I'm Stewie and this is a replay sent to me by Elite Commando. Elite Commando from Crazy Clan. And Elite Commando is running around in his Emil too, the new Swedish Heavy Tank. This one's the Tier 9. The Tier 9 Heavy Tank, and he's on Corellia. And this is an absolute ripper of a game. Looking at the lineup of the two teams, very heavy on heavy tanks. 7 heavy tanks on Elite Commando's side and 7 on the enemy side. The enemy have a few extra tank destroyers, and Elite Commando's side have one extra medium tank, 1 artillery and 1 light tank on each side. Now Elite Commando, you can see, is getting into a pretty aggressive position on Corellia on the eastern side, and he's got his big Swedish auto-loading tank loaded up and ready to go, as it looks like somebody hits the enemy Emil 1, which is the Tier 8. And Elite Commando says, "You're beauty." We know he's not an auto-loader. Put a few more shots into him, pulls back and takes a reload. Of course, the Emil 2 is a Tier 9, one of the new Tier 9, one of the new Swedish tanks in the game. And at Tier 9 it has a 4 shell clip with APCR as standard ammunition, doing 400 damage a shot with penetration of 252 and 300 penetration for the heat rounds, which is the premium ammunition. He's letting his teammates know that he's reloading by hitting the F8 key, and he's just waiting for that big Swedish gun to reload so he can have a crack at that American medium tank. The T-54E1 puts a shot into his turret, but he needs to be respectful of this IS-3, but he sees an opportunity to put some damage into the SU-12244, which at Tier 7 is vastly outmatched by the big Swedish gun. And he's already picked up 2,000 hit points of damage, Elite Commando, and the artillery gets rid of that pesky little Tier 7 Russian tank destroyer. As he waits for his reload to aim, by hugging that rock, he's continuing to keep these heavy tanks lit. The STI, the IS-3, the E-75. His teammates are recommending that he falls back, but the Elite Commando is not going to be stuffing around. He's got another 4 shell clip. He takes 145 damage from the IS-3, which tells me that he's probably firing high explosive. Puts a shell into the E-25. The Jag takes him out of the game, and now Elite Commando is just going to unload the rest of his clip into the Tier 8 Russian heavy tank. Only takes another 100 odd hit points of damage from the IS-3, and again that's because he's firing high explosive. The IS-3 probably not exactly sure how to penetrate the big Swedish turret. And of course, if you have a look, as he reloads, if you have a look at the turret, see the angle, that's got a massive angle on the front of the turret, and that makes it very, very hard to penetrate frontally, especially when you're on a ridge line like Elite Commando is now. It takes another high explosive shell hit from the IS-3, but that'll be all she wrote for the big Russian heavy tank. Even though it's Tier 8, it's a pretty handy tank. Sees an opportunity on the Super Pershing, puts a shot into his lower plate. The second shot to the Super Pershing doesn't do much at all, but he puts a damaging shot into the STI, takes another low amount of damage from the STI, so the STI is probably firing high explosive as well. He's waiting for his tracks to repair. He's lost his driver again. He's already fixed his driver once, but of course that's the thing with high explosive. Now that 12254 looks like he's on his side, so he doesn't really pose much of a threat because he's on his side and facing in entirely the wrong direction. 6-8 is the score. Elite Commando has already picked up 4,500 hit points of damage. His driver's in a bit of ruck, not in a very good way, but since it looks like he's going to spend the most of the game in this position, it doesn't really matter. The STI shoots and misses at Elite Commando, and Elite Commando picks up his second kill, sending the Tier 9 Russian heavy tank back to the garage. He's got 2 shells left in his clip, and looks like he's going to peek around here, try and get a cheeky shot into that E-75. That'd be a handy tank to get rid of, which he does, picking up kill number 3, and for good measure he puts his last shell into the IS. Not a bad game at all so far from Elite Commando. 11-9 is the score. He's picked up 5,761 hit points of damage, going by the new damage counter as part of World of Tanks 9.17 update. And as he's reloading, he's moving forward slowly because his driver is still dead. And he'll be looking at that Super Pershing thinking that'll be a very handy kill. But the Panther does the job, sending the Tier 8 American Premium Tank back to the garage. Now the IS has just fired, and Elite Commando knows that he'll be able to beat the reload, gets a shot into him, and Hello Artillery, the 212A, gives Elite Commando kill number 5. Keeps moving forward. The last tank is the RHM, the Repeatable Borsig Waffenträger, which looks like he hasn't been spotted yet. But he has picked up a kill, so you'd imagine he's up in this general vicinity somewhere. Can Elite Commando pick up the last kill of the game and give himself a top gun? 6,211 hit points of damage. He's blocked 390. You would have thought he would have blocked a bit more in that hold down position, but the tanks that were shooting him were firing high explosive, which obviously did a little bit of damage. 100 or 200 damage at a time from memory. So at this stage of the game, it's just a case of wrapping up the win, and Elite Commando having an absolute ripper in his Tier 9 Swedish Heavy Tank, the auto-loading Emil 2, as they look and look and look for that Repeatable Borsig Waffenträger, the very popular Tier 8 German tank destroyer, and one that Wargaming thought, well, since it's so popular, we're going to make a premium tank out of it, with the Scorpion G being often compared to the Repeatable Borsig Waffenträger. Anyway, Elite Commando, 5 kills, 6,211 hit points of damage, 1 dead driver. He's got 288 hit points of health left, so he needs to be a little bit wary from that perspective. The SDRV 1030, the Tier 9 Swedish tank destroyer on the other side, which Elite Commando is now looking at it, only on 37 health, so he quite rightly is being quite conservative as well. Bit of pinging going on from the artillery on the mini-map, and probably to indicate that's where we think the RHM is. That Panther ended up going right up to the corner just to make sure that the tank destroyer wasn't camping behind the flag. And he fires a shot, but it looks like the RHM went behind a rock. Now he's going to take a reload. Probably should have reloaded on the way up to that position. The RHM is no longer spotted. The artillery pinging, and Elite Commando doing the right thing and saying, look, I want the reload, feel free to take that kill. But all in all, a pretty good result from Elite Commando on Karelia, picking himself up an Ace Tanker Mastery badge, but not only an Ace Tanker Mastery badge, also a coveted a high caliber and a mark of excellence, the first mark of excellence on his gun barrel. And if he keeps playing like that, I'm sure he's going to have plenty more marks of excellence in this big Tier 9 Swedish auto-loading heavy tank, the Emil 2, the Ace Tanker Mastery Badge, and of course all these other medals that go with it, the Hand of God, Bruiser, Duelist, Fighter, Fire for Effects, Confederate, and of course the High Caliber. Having a look at all those tanks that he spotted, damaged and killed, it was an absolute ripper from Elite Commander. 6,614 hit points of damage, 5 kills, 1,688 base experience, which is absolutely massive, and you can see he fired 23 shots, 21 hit, 19 did damage, and that was enough for an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge. Didn't make any money on it because he wasn't running a premium account, and he did fire a little bit of premium ammunition, but all in all a pretty good game from our mate Elite Commando in the Emil 2. As we move on to the second game in this double shot of Emil 2 action featuring Elite Commando from Crazy Clan, and this time we're running around on Mountain Pass. The RU-251 letting his team know that he's probably not going to do too much in this game, but let's see if he does. His teammate letting that RU-251 know that even though you're stock, you can still scout. It's something that annoys me about the game, when people feel the need to tell their teammate that they're stock. So in other words, it's almost as if they're giving up before they start. But Elite Commando is not giving up at all. He's already put 2 shots and helped to get rid of the Tier 8 German premium tank, the Low, or the Luva, depending on what school you went to, I suppose. Slightly different lineups in the 2 teams. Elite Commando's side has more heavy tanks, and it looks like the enemy side have more tank destroyers, and that's probably why Elite Commando is being a little bit conservative on this little ridge, knowing that there might be tank destroyers aiming his way. They haven't been spotted yet, and tank destroyers, it's their job to get rid of heavy tanks such as Elite Commando. Now he's blocked 490 hit points of damage from the Rheinmetall Borsig Waffenträger, and also the new notifications in the World of Tanks game let him know that he got a bit of spotting damage from when artillery hit the French light tank, the AMX 1390. As Elite Commando takes a reload, he decides to relocate. He's picked up 707 hit points of damage, 490 blocked, 668 spotting damage already. We're only 2 minutes into the game with the score on 2 apiece, and Elite Commando looks like he's going to the bridge to help this IS, who's all alone. No enemy tanks have been spotted on the bridge, but going by the massive amount of damage that IS just took, tipping either artillery hit it or there's some tank destroyers. Tank destroyers, especially non-turreted tank destroyers, like to use the corridor which is on this bridge. Now Elite Commando blocks a shot from the Jag Tiger 8.8, the premium German tank destroyer, but the aim only good enough to get 2 out of the 4 shots, but he does block a little bit more damage, but he did take 1 or 2 shots of damage from the premium Tier 8 German tank destroyer. And with the score on 2-5, it's time to get serious. Elite Commando already done nearly 1500 hit points of damage, blocked about the same, and of course he'll be looking at the minimap and looking at all those red dots on the minimap thinking, Jesus Christ, have a look at where all these enemy tanks are. Lets the Patriot tank know that that's probably not a good idea to go down there, and Elite Commando looks like he's going to go back to the base and try and defend this massive assault from the Ice Raid, where the Type 4 Heavy and the T10, both top tier heavy tanks, as well as I think it's the enemy Patriot tank, the T26E5, pushing up from the eastern side. So he's getting around this mound. Looks like that J Panther is in a world of bother on only 16 hit points. ISU is going to back Elite Commando up, and he needs to make sure these tanks get lit for both those tank destroyers and of course for artillery, if the artillery is aiming that way, which hopefully he is. Gets a nice damaging shot into the T10, but he gets lit in the process and shoots and tracks him again. Hopefully someone else shoots him as well, because that's his last shot. The ISU 152 does the right thing, gets rid of the top tier Russian heavy tank as Elite Commando. Takes another reload. He's already done 2663 damage, but of course we all know what he's like. He's going to want more damage than that here on Mountain Pass. It's letting the FV4 202 premium tank let him know to follow me, because I'm coming down. And of course that FV at tier 8 needs to be a little bit conservative, because it's not known for its armour, and there is a Scorpion G that was last spotted around this corner. A little bit of a bump there, but of course Elite Commando will be thinking, well, I've got the armour, I'll go first, and if that FV can help, that would be absolutely awesome. Again, looking at the minimap, looks like the enemy team have put a massive amount of tanks on that bridge, going by where they were last spotted. Still can't see the Scorpion G. There he is on the other side of the bridge. Now he'll get proxy spotted here, so he needs to be careful. Gets a nice shot into the rear of the Patriot tank, but that Japanese heavy tank, really want to get rid of him. He's got that big dirt gun. Sends the Patriot tank back to the garage. He's got 1 clip left, one shell left. Now 1 shell should be enough to kill the tier 9 heavy tank, but his teammate does that, or his platoon mate does that. He fires clutch towards that tank destroyer. It takes another reload, so needs to be careful here. Probably needs to be wary of the enemy artillery, which should probably maybe have shots at him where he is. He's definitely lit because he's so close to those TDs, and that That SU-152 at tier 7 looks like he's tempted to drop down as Elite Commando continues to retreat with his platoon mate. There's only 5 tanks left versus the last 8 enemy tanks, so they need to pull something out of the bag here. Elite Commando has got 1 kill. Speed Team in the FV has got 2, but they seem to be continuing to get into each other's way. Elite Commando is now reloaded. Gets tracked by the E75, and now it's time to put that auto-loading gun to work. It looks like the E75 was tracked. Kills the J Panther, and with 1 clip left, can he get it? Can he get the Cupola? He can. Picks up his 3rd kill, and of course Speed Team's got 2 kills as well at tier 8. And with the score at 9-12, though, there's nothing in the bag quite yet. 10-12, as the Object 704 picks up a kill back towards the cap circle. Now he'll be praying for this gun to reload. Looks like he's over halfway reloaded now. Speed Team picks up another kill on the Scorpion G, which is very handy, taking the big German gun away from Elite Commando's rear, as Elite Commando keeps the SU-152 at bay. And the gun's just about reloaded now. Takes a tracking shot from the SU, but it doesn't matter because he's in position. Puts 2 shells into the tank destroyer, which evens up the score. 4 kills to Elite Commando, 3 to Speed Team in the British medium tank. And looks like the Object 704, is he in trouble or not? What kind of health's the Object 704 on? Looks like you'd think the Object 704 would have that R8 covered, unless the R8 is flanking him, which is a bit hard to see from this angle. The R8 puts a shot into the Object 704 with the score on 12 all. 7 kills in this platoon, and Speed Team doing the right thing and pushing straight up the eastern flank as Elite Commando pushes around this corner back through the bowl of death. The Object 704 takes the German tank destroyer out of the game, and now it's 3 versus 2. The advantage is firmly back in Elite Commando's side, and it is the M4A1 RAV, and that's a pretty easy target, the French medium tank. It has got a handy gun. Elite Commando letting the Object 704 no, just hold on, don't die, we'll come and help you soon. Speed Team only on 282 hit points, which I think is a one-shot for the French medium tank, but I know what Elite Commando will be thinking. He'll be thinking, I've got 4 shells in the clip, I've got nearly 1500 hit points of health, I can take 1 or 2 shots from this little Frenchie, and my 4 clips should be enough to send him back to the garage and confirm this epic win. He's already done 5,500 hit points of damage, and I'm tipping that French medium tank will be aiming the other way. Auto aims, because there's no strong spots on this tank. He does take 434 hit points of damage, but let's have a look at this big Swedish gun just chewing up the health of the French premium medium tank. Keeps moving forward. The FV picked up the kill on that. That's 4 kills apiece, which I'm pretty sure is enough for a brothers in arms. And only 1 tank left, which is the big tier 8 American artillery. I'm just going to fast forward the replay a little bit, because you don't just need to watch him driving halfway across the map. And so far, Elite Commando's had an absolute ripper of a game. 4 kills, 6,767 hit points of damage, 2,380 block damage, and nearly 1,300 assisted damage. It looks like Speed Team's going to pick up the kill on the American artillery piece. All in all, a pretty good recovery from Speed Team and Elite Commando from Crazy Clan on Mountain Pass in the Emil 2, the Tier 9 Swedish Heavy Tank. Having a look at the post-game battle results again, it's Ace Tanker Mastery Badge, which is unsurprising. A Bruiser, Duelist, Fighter, Fire for Effect and Shell Proof for bouncing all that damage. Brothers in Arms for getting at least 3 kills each, which they did comfortably. Now that was a dynamic platoon. It was just a platoon that Elite Commando joined up at the start of the game, thinking they were going to help each other on that eastern flank. The steel wall for all those hits, and of course the high caliber. Have a look at all those tanks that he spotted, damaged and killed. It was an absolute ripper from Elite Commander. 6,767 hit points of damage, 4 kills, 1536 base experience, 524 shots, 20 hit, 19 did damage, and that was enough for an Ace Tanker Mastery Badge. And Speed Team from MAF Clan had not a bad game at all with in the FV4202, the premium British Tier 8 medium tank. He fired 16 shots, 11 of them did damage, 14 hit, 1700 damage and 1200 blocked, and a little bit of spotting as well. And he had a pretty good game as well. Looking at the last page, not a bad result, quite profitable. I don't remember him needing to fire too much premium ammunition in this game, Elite Commando, but an absolute ripper on Mountain Pass 2. Pretty good games featuring the new Tier 9 Swedish Heavy Tank, the auto-loading, the 4-shot auto-loading Emil 2. Thanks very much for the replays, Elite Commando. Thanks for watching, everybody. Take care, and see you all next time.